Let's understand the core components of IGA. Identity Lifecycle Management. This involves onboarding of new identities. The process starts when a new employee is hired. Their identity is created within the system, and appropriate permissions and access rights are assigned based on their job role. For example, a new HR employee would automatically be given access to the HR system and employee database, but not to sensitive financial systems. Next is role changes. If the employee moves to another department, their role and associated access rights are adjusted accordingly. A user in marketing may not need the same permissions once it transitioned to finance, so their access will be updated to reflect their new responsibilities. And ultimately, offboarding. When an employee leaves or is terminated, IGA systems ensure their access is revoked immediately. This is critical for preventing unauthorized access after their departure. In some cases, the system will also notify the relevant teams to recover any assets, such as company laptops, that were assigned to the employee. Another core component of IGA is access governance. It involves access reviews, segregation of duties, and access requests. Periodic access reviews ensure that user permissions are up to date and still relevant to the user's current job role. For example, an annual review may be conducted where managers approve or deny the access rights assigned to their employees. SOD is an important principle in IGA, which prevents conflicts of interest by ensuring a user doesn't have access to multiple systems that could enable fraudulent activities. For example, a single user should not have access to both create invoices and approve payments within the same system. Using access requests, users can request additional access based on their evolving job responsibilities. For example, if a developer needs access to a new tool or repository, the request must be reviewed and approved through a defined workflow before access is granted. The next key component of IGA is policy enforcement. This involves least privilege access and role-based access control. Least privilege access in IGA ensures that users only have the minimum access required to perform their job duties. If a user doesn't need access to specific systems or data, they won't have permission to access them. This reduces the potential attack surface in case their credentials are compromised. Role-based access control is a critical aspect of IGA. RBAC assigns permissions based on roles rather than individuals. For example, all employees in the HR department are given similar access rights, such as access to employee records, without requiring individual permission assignment. Next is audit and compliance. Audit trails. IGA systems maintain a detailed user activity log to track who accessed which resources and when. This is essential for security monitoring and compliance purposes. In regulated industries, such as healthcare or finance, audit trails can be used to prove adherence to regulatory requirements. Access certification. Access certification workflows require managers to periodically certify that users still need access to specific systems or data. If a user no longer requires access, it is revoked during the review process. And regulatory compliance. Many industries have strict regulatory requirements for data security, such as GDPR, that is General Data Protection Regulation in the Europe, or HIPAA, that is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act in the US. IGA ensures that user access policies and audit logs align with these regulations. IGA also involves self-service components like password management, access requests, and role change requests. Using password management, users can securely reset their passwords, reducing the workload on IT support teams. This can include multi-factor authentication to add an extra layer of security to the self-service process. Using access requests, employees can request new access or modify existing permissions through self-service portals. For instance, a marketing employee might request access to a new software tool needed for a project. The request is then routed through the proper approval channels. Using role change requests, users can request changes to their roles, which are then approved or denied based on a set of policies. In summary, identity governance and administration is an essential framework for managing user identities and access rights within an organization. By automating identity management processes, enforcing policies, conducting access reviews, and maintaining audit logs, IGA helps organizations maintain security, compliance, and operational efficiency. It ensures that the right people have the right access to the right resources at all times, reducing risks associated with unauthorized access and improving overall organizational control.